Hello, welcome back to Mining Now. I'm your host, Jared Downey. Today on the show, we have Marcus Bayuelo. He is the Vice President of Product at Wingtra, and we have André Becker. He is the Senior Product Manager at Wingtra. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jared, for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And Andre, it's you got the unit only half on display in the background, so everybody's going to be. It's a very cool unit what you have. I was watching. Oh, there you go. There it is. We'll be featuring that throughout the and the technology packed into it. Yeah, you might want to spin it back, or the producer's going to kill me. So we're going to talk about Wingtra. Maybe Marcos, let's start with you. Just high level, who you are as a company.
Cool. So Wingtra is a company that provides aerial insights for all type of industries, and in this case, mining has a huge potential. So this technology is being a game changer. I have been in mining almost my whole career, and one of the major problems that I always had was, so how do I update my 3D map for my fleet management system? Or how does mine planning actually creates or compare their design to the actual progress? And then I discovered this technology a couple of years ago, and I was like, okay, getting my digital twin is a reality. And that's basically what Wingtra provides to all our users, the ability to really capture and generate a digital twin of their asset in an extremely efficient and easy way. And we use, of course, drones and software solutions to enable and provide you this 3D view of your mine in a very easy way. That's what basically Wingtra does for our customers.
Audrey, I want to bring you in quite quickly on this because I want to get a picture of, like Marcos was saying, he's worked in the industry a long time for his career, and sometimes it's nice when you've got newer technology to contrast it with what it used to look like. Can you paint a bit of a picture of what that would be over the 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, today the drone is only one part of our end-to-end solution at Wingtra, but just talking about the drones, I can remember 10 years ago that drones were super hard to get. You have to assemble them yourself. You had very limited flight time, heavy drones, under 10 minutes of flight time. And I can remember having mounting a camera underneath without a gimbal, selecting an angle where we thought it was good, and then hitting record on the bottom, then taking off and then flying lines back and forth, hoping to capture what you want. From photogrammetry and digital twin, we were still super far away, but at least to have aerial pictures was already mind-blowing, but still a super manual and error-prone process with lots of vibrations, lots of reflights, very cumbersome.
Well, you learn and build from the past. So I wanted, how game-changing was it though when those drones first went up in the air, and you started to be, rather than a helicopter? I mean, the amount of money that used to have to go into getting aerial footage was just insane. How much did that change? And either one of you, I'm sure both of you have insight on that.
Yeah, a helicopter hour is insanely expensive. You cannot do this every day. And I would say with one helicopter hour, you almost get a off-the-shelf consumer drone already today.
Yeah.
So really the pricing got democratized, and the technology is more accessible. You can all go to your electronic stores and buy a drone. Will it get you the job done? Most likely not. So that's the reason why there's Wingtra. And today we know that it's not only about the drone flying, but it's also about how do I prepare a flight mission? What data do I really need to get? And especially after a flight, what happens with my data?
Right.
If I just generate more data, I generate more work for me, but I don't generate better insights or data for my mining operation. So we realize now technology is only one part, the hardware, but that's a big chain in front and after that.
From my side, what I've seen have changed dramatically is before when you needed extremely experts basically on the technology to be able to you have to take the pilot out of the helicopter and put it on the mine to be able to fly a drone. Now it is just a click of a button and then I need my dump area or I need my active benches. I just draw the area, press play, and there you go. I have my data. Drones have become extremely, extremely reliable, easy to use, and you get your data extremely fast. And now with the whole technologies and the solutions out there around Wingtra as a company, like, it's all web-based. So basically you can share it with all your stakeholders. And these processes of being able to have the technology on a very reasonable price, efficiently, that enables you to capture all your mine site, and that you can enable like your mine planners, your geologists, your surveyors, even your supervisors where we're going to actually use the technology and get the data they need. This is an incredibly exponential change in the last 10 years.
Let's talk about our heavy industry world tour brought to you by Savona Equipment. Find, market, and sell surplus and used equipment. And FogMaker. Protect lives and vehicles with FogMaker fire suppression systems, because safety can never be a compromise. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's heavy industry world tour. Techway designs, manufactures, and services high-quality industrial scales and feeders. For over 50 years, processors of everything from French fries to frac sand have counted on Techway to provide the most durable, accurate, and reliable in-motion feeding, weighing, and metering equipment for their dried material handling needs. They specialize in providing tailored solutions that endure the test of time and material. Techway's quality line of products are proudly made in the USA. Learn more at techway.com. In heavy machinery, uptime is crucial. Meeting productivity demands with less downtime requires top-notch lubrication. The SKF Lincoln SL6 metering device is built to excel. With a proven design, it handles even the toughest conditions, ensuring reliable performance with extreme pressure greases. This automatic lubrication system reduces maintenance, cuts grease consumption, and extends component life. Plus, its advanced sealing technology minimizes leakage risks. For those who demand reliability, the SKF Lincoln SL6 delivers superior lubrication. Keep your machines running smoothly. Visit skf.com/lubrication to learn more. CIM is Canada's leading technical institute dedicated to the sustainability of our industry. Members enjoy professional growth opportunities through CIM libraries, publications, webinars, societies, and the job board. Experience the CIM community firsthand at the Conference of Metallurgists, August 19th to 22nd, ICARD, September 16th to 20th, and the CIM Health and Safety Conference, October 6th to 8th. Visit CIM.org for more information and join CIM today.
How automated is it now? When like a drone flying, as opposed to, again, just contrasting with maybe even 5-10 years ago, what's the automation in comparison to flying routes and things like that, or even how you compile data? Again, either one.
The big fallacy still today, after 10 years, like there are a lot of drone companies which sell you fantastic drones, and then they're off, and you have to figure out like, how do I plan the mission that I get the data correct? In which, like, where do I aggregate the data? Where do I process it? Like, where do I get the actual data which matters for me? And that is still like an end-to-end solution is pretty much untapped. And that's where really Wingtra comes in. So in terms of automation, as Marcos mentioned, everything runs on one base, which is accessible on any device because it's in the browser-based. And you plan, on the map, you plan a mission, say, hey, I want to survey that area. And then we already help you saying, hey, which payload do you want to use? Like, this is how many batteries you will take. We will show you already in advance, like how the quality will be. And then with a click of a button, you will transfer this to your tablet in the field. So you go out at maybe the corner of the mine, you hit a button, the drone checks itself. The drone will take off like a helicopter, like you see it in the background, and then flip and fly like a plane over kilometers if you want. Captures everything you need to know. Like, you're hands off. You don't need to fly these things anymore.
Right.
And then they come back. The drone flips back again, lands like a helicopter. And then you take the data also into our platform. We process that. We give you the tools. And then at the end, you get your terrain models, your CAD model, you name it. So in terms of the automation, with like the usual drone manufacturers, flying is automated, but everything else is not. And at Wingtra, that makes us so special. We take care of you from start to finish. And it's highly automated.
In mining, reliable connectivity is essential for both efficiency and safety. Communication engineers often struggle to maintain network coverage in tough environments. For over 20 years, Pointing has been at the forefront of solving these challenges with a range of circular polarized helical antennas. Their antennas support cellular and Wi-Fi networks and are tailored for both open pit and underground operations. Ensure reliable mining communication. Get in touch with Pointing now. Visit pointing.tech. SafeGauge specializes in innovative safety solutions, ensuring precision and reliability when conducting routine heavy vehicle maintenance. Their award-winning Safe Test range ensures workplace safety and efficiency. Their technology allows live testing to be completed up to 100 meters away, removing technicians from the line of fire and eliminating live work. SafeGauge. Work smart, stay safe. Visit safegauge.com today. Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com.
How do you get that original configuration before the flight starts though? Is that like GPS coordinates, or how do you know what you're mapping before you start mapping it? Like the coordinates instead. You said it's all done beforehand, before you start flying.
So basically what happens is, let's take normal use cases. So let's say you have 3 blasting sites on your mine site.
Yeah.
That they just go on Wednesday. So usually your drill and blast crew will already have either a KM set or a coordinate files where the blasting areas are. So you just import this from your crew. This goes automatically into a map of the mine that you have previously flown. So you have a real representation of where the drone will be flying. And then you will have 3 areas to capture.
Right.
So on a GPS, you will see the map will just shows you, these are the 3 areas that I need to capture. And then you will just basically swipe. So this can be done in the office, like in a connection from your drill and blast to your surveyors, or in many of our customers, the blast engineers are already just owning the whole end-to-end technology, and then they just input it and fly it from the viewpoint. They don't even have to drive to the mine pit.
Now, when you say they, are you on site with them? Is Wingtra providing on-site support, or you're sending it to them?
Customer itself owns, it's as easy to use that they can do everything end to start to end.
So do they purchase
integrate this?
They purchase the Wingtra drone then, and the technology's packed in already? Is that how it works?
Correct.
Right. So what is what's the unboxing? What's the unboxing like? Like the initial setup? What can they sort of expect?
As a mining operator, you will get what you see behind André, right? That is the drone. And there is a web technology, a platform called Wingtra Cloud, on where it's end-to-end. So in there, you will have the map of your mine, where you will import your mission. You unbox the drone, and the drone is, as you see it has a middle stand that is just a white part that holds it. And it's, as you see it, is as you unbox it. There is no more moving parts. You don't have to assemble it. It's a 2 minutes installation. You just put it on the field, right? And on your website, on your Wingtra Cloud, you get your coordinates, and then it's almost ready to fly.
Wow.
That's all you need.
Yeah. I mean, to add to that, for this planning, it's like using Google Maps on your phone, but just like you draw a rectangle or like a shape you want around the areas, the blast sites you want to capture. And then you select one of our payloads, saying, for example, like a high quality camera or like a LiDAR laser scanner. And then our web interface, Wingtra Cloud, will compute everything for you. Like you save this, and then once you're in the field outside, as Marcus mentioned, you take it out of the box. The mission is there for you, and then you hit start, and the drone takes off, captures the data, comes back.
So you mentioned payload a couple of times. Is the client switching out depending on what they want to do then? Are they actually taking the camera out, putting in a LiDAR detector, all that sort of thing?
Depends on the application. We have a vast portfolio of payloads like high-resolution cameras, LiDARs, multispectral cameras, and the customer can just swap this in the field with 4 screws within minutes, and then capture multiple different data streams.
So does it come? Do all those come, or do you order depending on what you need, or does it all come? Oh, you order.
So the typical application is in mining. Usually, it's either LiDAR and high accuracy cameras for photogrammetry technology. So you get your point clouds if you need it on a shift decision making, for example. Then you would use LiDAR, or if you would like to do environment and count trees, then you would use LiDAR. Or if you want to do volumetric reconciliation of all your pit, then you will use the camera because it's a way more efficient payload. And then you can exchange it depending on what you want to do. That most of the customers have one use case that repeats over and over, and then just have like a payload that they exchange for specific cases.
Can we walk through a couple of those cases, like especially the LiDAR? I mean, the camera part, obviously, it's a camera, so most people understand that part of it. But the LiDAR side, you take a LiDAR sensor and you put it up into the sky in a drone. Is there some actual like real world examples you kind of give of how people are using it?
Yeah, I mean, using LiDARs in mining operation is nothing new, but usually it's terrestrial.
Right.
People have to drive down a site, like do the capturing, and then drive all the way back. That can take a couple of hours. And like the game changer is here now that taking a LiDAR into a drone, which as you see is a wing, like it can fly for like 60 minutes, cover like your entire mine in one morning. That's really a game changer. And it really helps in like all stages of the mining process. So like starting with exploration, so you have a new untapped territory. You have vegetation. So before anything happens, like you use your LiDAR, you not only penetrate the vegetation to get accurate ground data, but also like you can capture the vegetation, and with classification, you can calculate how much biomass do I have to get rid of before I touch the earth.
Right.
Things like this. So this is like super accurate data. It will help you during the mining, like blasting and all like this process. And then even when it comes to reclamation, so at the end of the process, when we want to basically put everything back and basically have nature taking over again, you can fly, if you want, every day taking this data and then just focus on the vegetation. So counting trees, again, biomass, tree heights, looking for riverbeds, like all this data is there for you, like highly accurate and very easy to get.
Okay, I want to just do a quick clarification. So now for the client then, how easy is that for them to adjust from they're trying to get to the earth or they're trying to get vegetation? Like, is that a pretty easy setting to, again, sorry, apologize for using the wrong language, but is that an easy enough setting?
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. So
thank you. See, Devin, I ask good questions.
You do usually, Jago.
Yeah.
Did you just say usually?
So I think a lot of people are familiar already with cameras on drones, and these pictures obviously cannot shoot through foliage, through trees. So, and to create a digital twin of plants and vegetation is almost impossible because it moves, it's too small. And here comes LiDAR, because LiDAR it shoots multiple lasers, and these, like, we shoot so many lasers, they also find the gaps between the leaves and actually hit the ground and return. So when talking about LiDAR, I don't want to get too technical, we talk about returns of LiDAR. So we have 3 returns. So with one possible LiDAR we shoot out, the laser is like a cone. So the wider, like the longer it gets, the wider it gets, and it can return up to 3 times. And with this high amount of like millions of points, we basically see these gaps and capture the ground. And then later, with machine learning, we really can distinguish between these returns. Is it on the ground, or is it like high up in the tree? And then we can separate all the points in our point cloud, say only show me vegetation.
Oh, I see.
Only show me the ground level.
So it's a layer that you already have. You're basically just what you want to extract or visualize at any given time. Right. How much of a disruption would you say this is to the industry from, again, let's not the 10 years ago, but even 2 or 3 years ago, or even now? What is sort of the alternative to what you're offering?
10 years ago, the drones were, the first thing was to make them flight reliable.
Right.
That was what we were getting rid of. Okay, if something falls into your mine, then it's a big problem on safety and what do you do with the challenge? And now it was around, how do we get the data in an easier way so we don't need complex expertise? So now it has changed the game into, previously, let's say that a mine did 2 flights, hiring a plane, and they flew twice a year to have a digital twin or a representation of their mine. And they had to wait, I don't know, 1 month to get the data. Today, this has changed, and with our technology, you can get this in next day. So within 1 day, you can have your mine, your digital twin of your mine pit. So this has dramatically changed. And how does this compare with traditional methods? So an example is today, most of our customers have fleet management solutions, right? And they have high precision systems. And this gives them a representation of how much ton has been extracted in an active bench. How does this look? Am I digging correctly towards the blast that happened or not? And this today, you can get it visually on a digital twin. This is like the dream that we always had, or once I used to work in mining, is I would like to have the digital twin, and I want to, from my office, see how it does actually looks down there.
Yeah.
Today, I just can ask anybody, hey, can you get me
And it's just there.
B? And it's just there in 2 hours.
You know what's so funny is that now I'm drawing a blank on his name. And I'm sorry. He actually passed away, so I feel quite bad for forgetting his name. But he was I think he was born. He might have been born in Italy, but he was sort of an Italian Canadian guy, and he sort of he had a lot of charisma. He was a really interesting guy, and it was my first. I've told the story before on the show, but it was one of my first, or maybe my first mining event that I had been to, and he was up there talking about these digital twins, and he was the old guy on the panel, and people that were closer to like all our ages were kind of snickering at him. Like, listen to this guy, what he's talking about. And it's so interesting now to see this, we're talking about 10 years ago. This is probably over 10 years ago. It's probably 12, 13 years ago. And because he was saying, like, we're going to have a digital twin, and people look kind of like Iron Man. People are going to be like making adjustments in the thing. And people were kind of laughing. And now we're getting closer and closer to that, where you can have the mind sitting in a boardroom and everybody will be actually like interacting with it. It seems it's not that far from reality now. It's very probably could be done if you wanted to spend the money to do it.
But I also like to address this and also your previous questions, and like to also add to Marco's points. Like today, like Marcos has been in the mining industry his entire career, and I've been in the drone industry my entire career. And there's still today, like, you get also other drones, and then you're by yourself. And so flying is not the critical part nowadays. So it's really like, what do I do before? Like, yeah, exactly. Like, what software do I then use? Do I need space for all where all the data goes? What do I need? Like, I need to get my people onto like trainings, but then they can not do the work. So there's still like a lot of complexity, what a lot of people underestimate. It's not just about the drone. And like at Wingtra, we are also like more a software company. Like, we build world-class hardware, right? Just like fitting in the middle piece, but before and after, this is the part where it's really complicated. And like, flying for an hour could mean multiple hours of going into a software and like doing stuff, whereas you can you upload your data to like our platform, and it will process it for you. It will help you, saying, hey, did you choose the right coordinate system, or are you working in a local coordinate system with your mine? So we help you like to really like, don't bother with like planning and post-processing, right? But we want to get you the data, and that's really the critical part.
Well, how is it? It's sort of going back to that, that little story of the older guy sitting there, sort of seeing where the mining was going. It's just a mindset. People say it's nothing to do with age. Age has no factor. You can meet a 12-year-old that has a closed mind. It's nothing to do with that. It's about how you see things and how you perceive things. Yeah. How is the industry sort of picking up on it? If you've built 2 mines in your career, major mines in your career, and it's been, helicopters and airplanes and the whole thing. Now you're doing drones. Maybe you had a bad experience 6 years ago. A drone it did go into the mine. All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges do you run into with communicating what the software does, what the sensors are doing, how efficient the drone is, the ease of use, like the things we're talking about, and tying that in? Like, you're going to Mine Expo, where I think we're doing an episode with you on the ground at Mine Expo.
Correct.
What is the education like for people? I mean, I do a show. Of course, I want to talk about it, but the people that are actually on the ground and that you've got to get buy-in, what is that conversation like? And some of the challenges you run into with it?
Yeah, that's a very, very key question, because there is where we stand today. That is today's challenge. Is no longer the technology.
Right.
And it's around, I tried this technology 6 years ago, and I had bad experiences. I had PTSD around drones. I don't want to know about this anymore. And that has passed like 4 years ago. And then the challenge is like, okay, where the industry stands today is people use this technology for 1 or 2 use cases, mainly for volumetric analysis around the stockpiles or the tailing dams. Those are the 2 key use cases that people use drones for. And why? What is the main reason? Is because it's still a surveying technology. So it's trapped in surveying, which then provides this digital twin that everybody else uses. But the technologies become so easier that anybody, from blasting engineers, from mine planners, from geologists, from operations supervisors, could use the technology to say, I only need the map of my active phase, or I need the map of my progress dump, or I need the map of my drill and blast area. So the education is around what can everybody do and get out of this digital twin, because in the industry, everybody on their own functional silos still have the same mindset of the people that were mocking your friend. That is, I don't think you can do it. I don't think like I can be sitting at the start of my shift and looking in my iPad. How do I plan my operational shift based on a 3D-dimensional digital twin of what is down there, actually.
So you are running into people that are still like, because there's quite a bit of promotion around it, but you still run into challenges with that communication aspect of it.
Yeah, correct. It's like people still have the perception that it's a super complex technology. We're still crossing this barrier of, oh yeah, it's not that complex. I can do it myself, like crossing this fear. What happened? Does it actually works? And then like, how do I use this map and integrate it into my day-to-day? Like we are so used to a start of the shift, talk to my operators, drive down to the pit, look around, see what things are happening. Yeah. And now this has started to change to, I have a map in my office.
So this leads me to the other thing is when people do onboard it, then, and you kind of touched on it, but how often do they go from, I just need it for this, to, oh, okay, I'm going to use it for this. The drone was supposed to fly once a month. Now it's flying every second day. Is that quite common?
Like that is like right now, like, let's say like within one use case, you get so much value, and it's just, let's say you want to do topographic analysis for volumetrics, so you get reconciliation, but it used to be a headache every quarter. Now it's every 15 days you get it. And then people is like, every 15 days. And now the surveyors that were doing other things are doing this every 15 days. But because it has the perception that it's complex and only the surveyors can do it.
Right.
Then it's like, and now I can do reclamation and I can use LiDAR, and then environment and communities is like, I need this data every week.
Right.
And then it just goes that the poor guy is just like, I don't have time for anything else. But it's how do we take this technology and enable everybody else to actually use it? Because right now it has become extremely easy that it's just crossing this fear barrier of, okay, I can use it as well. It reminds me, like, have you ever seen the commercial of using credit cards in 1970s?
No.
It's like people were like, I will never put my credit card. I will never put my money in a plastic.
Right.
So it's like, how do we cross this fear of like, yes, everybody can use and democratize this technology, right?
Yeah, and people, and I picture the guy, even myself, I could see if all of a sudden someone told me, Like, you don't need to drive down to the pit anymore. That's just not part of your job. You don't even need to come out here actually anymore. I'd be like, it's kind of like when the BlackBerry went, it went to the iPhone, and all of a sudden there's still people, even myself a little bit. I kind of miss the button still.
Yeah.
To date, we have more than 1,500 customers, and we have some highly successful customers in mining, which basically use it almost every day, which we spoke to and said, yeah, we have to do this now every day, but like for like different stuff, like for blast, stockpile. Tomorrow we have to get for road construction, infrastructure, power lines, and reclamation. So we are not taking work away from people, but we're actually generating more work, because all of a sudden the decision makers in mining operations see the value. They say, wow, I can get this data like whenever I want, and every part of like the life cycle of this mine gets more efficient, it gets safer, and I can save money, and that's insane. And once people realize this, they are extremely happy.
Yeah, that is one of the hardest things to educate people about with technology, is people think it takes away. I don't know if that's ever been the case once in history, where if you automate the assembly line for vehicles, well, now we can make more vehicles. People buy more vehicles. So now you need more salespeople. You need more buildings to house the vehicles. And you need more infrastructure to drive the vehicles. And away you go, right? And it's but people will still see things. You go, oh yeah, the surveyor now doesn't need to do this. But it opens up this whole, like, reclamation now becomes a lot more accessible, a lot more affordable. It's just incredible. And it is just about doing shows like this, just educating people.
Just to tell you like how far we have become. So with our platform, supervisors, like when they know like I need like data from spot A, B, and C, they go into a platform, they draw this rectangle, and then basically our platform plans the flight for you. And then the supervisor can just assign pilot A does site number A, pilot B does site number B, and then these operators, they get the mission on their tablet automatically, and they can just execute the flight. So it's really also like it's a wow factor, like how that works these days.
And there's the usability of it. Are there any case studies, like real specific operations that you could highlight to sort of, again, zoom in on that real world application for people? Is there any projects that stand out, if either one of you want to take it, that you go, no, this is a project we did, and this sort of represents what's possible?
Yeah, I can talk to you about two key use cases with big, I would say the largest copper producer in the world that uses our technology in United States. So basically how they use it is they went from quarterly volumetric analysis for how they actually reclaim their ore. So what is happening is right now they are trying to optimize the output of high grade copper. And some of the copper that is low grade, they are accumulating in a dump. And what they do is this a dump of around 1,500 acres.
Okay.
Previously in the past, they would have to send someone to walk around to get the volumetrics, or fly a plane every 3 months. That cost a lot of money, and second, put somebody on risk with interactions with heavy machinery. Now, every week they fly this dump and they get this data within 1.5, 2 hours, and they can reconciliate how has the dump been progressing in a 3-dimensional view.
Wow.
And then this data, because it's in the website, like this was for surveyor and unmanned planners, now the operations take it to make the design of the ramp to optimize the access to the dump. And then they took it one layer ahead, and it's like, okay, I would like to see how the slope of my walls is being stayed after I have finished my digs, my bench, my active digging of my shovel. And then they fly the drone in between the week as well to get the bench progress and the slope compliance. And with the same data, then they extract what is the safety compliance of the roads, because every road needs to have certain width to ensure that the haul trucks have a distancing between themselves to ensure and prevent possible accidents. And the berms needs to have a height, which in the past used to be people driving around and taking points and measuring. Now with the same flights that they get 3 times a week, mine planners, geologists, and safety use the same data on the same platform that is captured by a surveyor to just get these outcomes, right? And it just went from, I just need volumes every month to give me the volumes every week. Give me the safety compliance every week, right? To I need this for planning. And it just becomes an integral part. Like once you have access to this digital
then
dream,
it's just, it's like breathing.
You just don't want to go there. Back, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is it, what was I going to ask? The on the decarbonization aspect, because obviously there's a lot of pressure for that for mine. I mean, you're accomplishing that just by having less vehicles having to drive out to different locations, which right there I can find. But are there other elements of this that it's a good case study for mines who want to lower emissions and things like that?
Sure. There are a couple of use cases around this, and it's not only around lowering emissions, but also like with the overall environment and communities pressure coming into mining, becoming like a very, very, not only corporate, but governmental pressure. Also the carbon credits, like the use case that Andre has become like expressed at the beginning. How much biomass am I planting actually? And how much is this growing? Because it not only has an impact on to how much carbon can I capture by the biomass that I'm recovering, and how can I prove this, because I have a duty to my governmental and my communities to return all the nature. Now with LiDAR, you can just visualize 5,000 acres every week and say, here is how the progress is. Amazing. All the river beds are coming back to life. We planted 5,000 trees. What we said we will plant. Here's 5,000 trees. The tree density is all of this, and this has a representation in carbon credits that if I have an agreement with my government, I could actually plan extra and get deductions on my carbon credits and then prove to the community that I'm bringing back nature and even increasing it, which is also like a very high litigation for mining these days. Right? I have to prove this out.
Well, and if you're in the exploration phase, you can also provide that information. This is what it could be. This is what it is now. This is what it could be when we're done, and all that sort of stuff. It's just incredible stuff. Audrey, before we've got multiple other episodes we're going to do with Wingtra. So I mean, we're going to dig into like road building, and there's certain aspects of this we're really going to like focus in on. But Audrey, just before I let both you go, I wanted to ask you: how long have you been in the drone space, effectively?
13 years.
13 years. So when you started getting involved in it, did you see quite quickly this is what it would get? Because it's easy to go now, look at that amazing machine that's behind you and what it can do. Was that understood by, I'll call it the drone community for lack of a better term, that it would get there when people started tinkering around and designing these new drones?
I think today I have the feeling not every company does get the full picture of what is needed to make jobs more efficient and like provides what Wingtra provides. For the majority of my career, the drones I've worked on, we were like super tech driven, like increasing the flight time, increasing the resolution, like all of these tech specs. But for like a day-to-day mining operation, yes, it matters, but it's not super important. And I mean, for a long time, we just built the drones and then gave this to people and not a solution around it. And like now technology becomes more or less a commodity, or this hardware and drone. And so that view has changed over the last years.
Right.
Some more and with some companies less.
Yeah. Just a quick question about the hardware side. That drone, like things like weather and is it you don't fly on certain weather days and things like that, or how does it do in like high winds, rain, cold weather? these types of things? I'm in Canada, so the cold has to come up at some point.
Yes. So being cold is no problem. Being wind is also no problem. We have like a super stable flight platform. Even when it comes down for landing, it sees where the wind is coming from, how strong it is. It will adopt its landing, so it will take care of you for this. Like it feels like magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it will sustain. I wouldn't say rain, but even if it rains, like you cannot capture data with a LiDAR through rain, for example. So the moment your weather is really adverse, then you have to come back, and the drone is safe to come back. So yeah, I mean, this is a tool which is used in mining operation, and this is like the toughest environment you can imagine, with heat and cold and with dust. And that's the reason why our platform, if you compare it to other platforms, it's relatively simplistic. So the motors, for example, other platforms, they have motors which have to turn. Like ours are strict. We only have the rudders. Like we remove like any point of failure where we can to make it reliable, because reliability at the end, that matters.
Right.
And yeah.
Exactly. So just to add to Andre's, we have focused into make it as simple as possible for the user. So no setup, just take it out of the box, put it in the floor, and literally swipe. That's all you need to do.
That's
it
wild.
will come back if it's not safe. It will come back. It will land in the conditions. It will not land if the conditions doesn't enable to. So it does everything for you as a user. You don't have to worry about anything. Just tell, what do I need from data?
It's amazing.
And it will do everything for you.
Sorry. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, and I mean, in case of people who are already using quadcopters, like regular drones with LiDAR, you can, like with our solution, you can capture 3 times more area than with quadcopters. And basically you get the job done 3 times faster. So imagine like working 3 times faster during your day. So you could like go off work before lunch pretty much. And this is what we deliver. But also like the post-processing, like we also post-process the data 5 times faster than like a big competitor in this space. And as I said in the beginning, like what you spend for a solution is one thing, but like the time you spend before and after the flight, this is where really the costs accumulate, and where you should really have a look if you're like considering this technology or also already using this and trying to say, hey, like I'm still spending so much time on the operation, then yeah, this is where we come into play.
For ordering the drone, so you're ordering the drone, you're buying the hardware, and then the software is that like a monthly, annual, like what is sort of the expectation that people are onboarding it?
Basically, you buy the hardware and then you buy the drone and select the payload that you need based on. Usually, you just get a RGB61 that is our flagship payload, large coverage. It gives you your full mine pit in 1 morning of flights. And then the software, it's a subscription, an annual subscription, and where we just give you, I would say 12 or 15 around mapping of your full pit. And you get all the capabilities from sharing the data with all your stakeholders, planning as many missions as you want, having your blasting projects, your geology projects, your reclamation projects. Everything is a structure for you, and then you can interact with many of our customers. By now, they start with 1 drone, and then they are okay. I went from 1 month to 1 week to multiple times per week. I need to, and one is sitting in mine planning, one sits in surveying, and then you have the people that make the request of the jobs, and all of this is included in the subscription. So every user can interact with all of them, and then all of them can interact and share the data among themselves on a yearly basis.
Maybe like one final addition.
Yes.
Like I've been in this industry a long time, and like also having this platform, Wingtra Cloud, what Marcus mentioned, like to see the growth rate, like the new features we add on a monthly basis, like what. It's insane. I haven't seen this at any speed in my career. And also like for example, my job as a product manager is like we go to customers and we look at their current problems, and like we take this subscription, we have a continuous team like adding features for you. So it's not just like we don't want to like sell you just the hardware and then leave you alone, but we really want to solve your problems. And this is what you get with us. Like you not get the solution, but also the support and us coming to you, looking at your problems and like really like making it even easier.
So
like,
really
there
is interaction.
And
yeah. So are you coming to site, or how does that work when someone has sort of like a unique challenge or issue, or they've got a request? How does that sort of get communicated and facilitated?
We have a portal on where our user customers can submit their request, but our most important interaction is we have a special team, or our user experience team, that is guided by a magnificent person called Philip. Like we're just every day talking to 5-10 customers. I personally visit customers every quarter, Andrew as well. And we just run through what are you using, what are your use cases, how are things happening, and then we just incorporate it. And we have a series of what we call our innovator customers. So the people that pushes the boundaries in each one of the industries that we operate.
Yeah.
And in here is where we have the largest copper producer in the world. We have the largest coal mines in the world. We have the largest gold mines in the world. And we just sit down with them and say where this should be in 2 years.
Right. That's a great way to ask that question. Yeah.
And to add to this, like we have a dealer partner network around the globe. So partners which take care of customers, which basically help customers to get started with the right setup. And they will be there for you in your time zone, very close to you. And they also like are in very close contact with us. So like it's like a multiple stream street. This goes back and forth.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize you're through a dealer network. That's really interesting. So that's how you're getting like on the ground sort of direct support there. That's a key. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. And very likely, like if like you're like a customer listening and you have already a supplier for your surveying equipment or mining equipment, it's very likely that they also are a partner for Wingtra, and they will also be able to help you like to get started.
Gentlemen, we're going to do at least 2 more episodes with you. We've got one more being filmed, actually, I think, in about an hour. And then we're doing one, I am right? We're doing one on the ground at Mine Expo as well. So we're just going to keep layering it back. Obviously, we just kind of did the high-level version today, and we're just going to keep digging in further. So thank you both for joining, and I'm looking forward to just doing more episodes. It's just a ton of fun, and it's always nice. You can see the guests are passionate about what we're talking about. Sometimes you sort of have to keep the conversation pushing it along. You guys are just kind of going for it, so it just makes it fun for me as well. So thank you very much for joining the show.
Thank you, Jared, for having us. Amazing to be here.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. Of course, we'll have links to Wingtra, some of the case study that was brought up. We'll have a link to that. You can also connect with Marcos and Andre. We'll have their LinkedIns in the description. If you're seeing this on LinkedIn, you just click there. We'll tag their names and everything. So thank you for watching, and we are going to see you on the next episode of Mining Now.